This is the fallen angel Christopher Daniels, former TNA X Division champion and former TNA World Tag Team champion, and you are listening to the TNA Cross the Line podcast. Enjoy.
TNA Wrestling, Cross the Line.
And we're back with episode 166 of the TNA Cross the Line podcast. I am Colling Jr. And with me, as always, is Dallas Gridley. In Dallas, we are only 2 weeks away from a lockdown 2005. Originally, 2 matches were going to be inside the 6 Sides of Steel. But guess what? Dusty Rhodes is a comedian. And he suggested, how about we have all of them in there? Thinking that they would all laugh. And there may have been laughter. But then Dixie Carter was like, you know what? I love it. So now every match at Lockdown is a steel cage match. I'm pumped. I know Dallas has been pumped for the last 3 years to get to this show. And we're just 2 weeks away. Dallas, how are you feeling?
I've never been more excited for 8 cage matches on one show in my entire life.
One of which is a tables match.
Yeah.
In a cage.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And I think we kind of know most of what's happening on Lockdown.
Now, do you think in that tables match, the tables are already in the ring? Or are they going to have to go get them?
No, I think they're already going to be in the ring. Because the whole point of, I'd say, as silly as it sounds, the whole point of the cage match is still so you can't, leave. So I feel like they kind of have to already have them in the ring.
Yeah, but I feel like in TNA or Impact history, they still go outside the cage a lot.
Okay, so I was waiting for you to say that. And yes, that is true. Especially in Lethal Lockdown matches.
Yeah.
Most of my memories of Lethal Lockdown matches happen outside of the cage.
I know one time here in the future, there's a Philadelphia street fight in a steel cage.
Okay, that's weird.
What
That's weird.
How do you have a street fight inside of a steel cage?
You can't do that. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're going to be there. But I guess we'll see. You never know. And, Bob, I've been teasing you, too. We know most of the card, but there's going to be a little bit of a mix-up going on. Everyone's going to have to stay tuned for that, because over these next 2 weeks, we have some absolutely riveting news. And I'm not just saying that to be funny. I mean, there's actually some really good shit here. And there's a pretty decent amount of it as well.
I was about to applaud you because I thought your shirt that you're wearing right now was a WCW, Alliance era shirt. Just because of the red and everything, but it's not.
No, it's not. I wish it was, actually. I almost bought that not long ago.
Really?
Yeah, I keep wanting to buy WCW shirts and stuff like that, and then I just, don't do it.
I don't consider that a WCW shirt because it's branded from the WWE. So.
Well, yeah, but it still says WCW. So it's it's the remnants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. I need some WCW merch in my life. I don't want to go to a show and I don't want to be seen wearing fucking John Cena Triple H shirt. I want to wear WCW Nitro from 1999.
I told you I bought a Lance Storm WCW shirt, right?
Ooh, I don't know if you did.
Yeah, it's just I'll have to find a picture of it here. But it's literally just his eyes, in 3 different pictures, and on the back it says, "Don't blame Canada, blame yourself."
Oh my god! Is it authentic or is it a replay?
Oh yeah, no, it's a legit one.
Oh wow, okay, that's really funny. My favorite thing about you is you buy the weird wrestling shirts. You don't buy Top Star shirts.
Oh no,
you're nah. I want fucking. What's some other ones you have? Don't you have a Crush shirt and shit like that?
Did I get Crush?
If you don't, you would. It's that kind of vibe.
I don't know if I did.
You want Sid Justice shirts. You don't want...
I have a Sid Justice shirt, yeah.
That's more Top Guy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You like the weirder ones.
Well, those are the best ones.
Well, right, I agree. Like, do you have like a Mortis shirt? You seem like
No.
like you'd get a Mortis. I mean, I probably would get a Mortis shirt.
No, I have a Money Incorporated shirt.
Okay, yeah.
I have like the Mega Power shirt from WrestleMania 5. But that's pretty, I guess, big. That's a reprint though.
Well, you got some good shit. That's awesome.
I have a Jeff Jarrett Slapnuts original shirt.
See, like that's pretty cool. I don't have any Jeff Jarrett shirts. Oh, okay. Here's a Lance Storm shirt. Oh my god, dude. That is absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know if
I like how it zooms in on his face.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because he's serious,
Don't blame Canada, blame yourself. Wow. That's awesome. What is this website?
I don't know. I just found a picture of it.
Oh, okay. I'll have to take a look at that later. That's pretty awesome. I need some. Remember when we found a couple like classic TNA shirts and they were like $90? And I was like, damn, I'm about to buy this, but I didn't.
Yeah, there's like a Monty Brown shirt.
The Monty Brown one, in particular, was like, holy shit. Let's see, is it still available?
I have a Tatanka shirt, I'm pretty sure.
See, like that kind of shit. Fucking wants Tatanka.
Oh, Man on a Mission, High Voltage.
Yeah. These Monty Brown shirts are still available, and they are absolutely absurd in price.
How much are they now?
Okay, I just found one I've never seen before, though. They're over $100. Bob, what size shirt do you wear? Because you might buy this one.
I wear a 2X just for better comfort.
Okay, well, this is an XL, but I really think you need it.
I could fit an XL.
Just you've been pounced, the alpha male, and then in the back, 1 pounce away. $50. You need this.
$50? That's not bad.
If that was my size, I'd buy that. But alas, it is not. Anyway, some really great stuff here with the t-shirt talk. Well, back to Impact. 2 weeks away from lockdown. It's pretty exciting stuff. And last week's episode, I don't know, I think we liked it. I don't have it pulled up here. Do we like last week's show, Bob?
Last week's was not. What was it? I don't even remember.
I'm pulling it up. It's coming. Yes, we gave the last 2 shows a thumbs up. I do think last week's was better than the week prior. So there's some positive.
Oh yeah, Chase Stevens and AJ had a pretty good match, from what I remember.
Yeah, they did. Let's do a quick rundown of the card from April 8th, 2005. Now, of course, we are on the second set of 3-week tapings at a time. Today, we're watching the second show from that taping. So, first up, Chris Sabin defeated Michael Shane in 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Yes, not Michael, not Matt Bentley, but he's Michael Shane again. We talked all about that last week.
And that's because, who was it? I looked it up and was like, oh, it wasn't Bill Behrens. It was Bob Ryder.
Bob Ryder, yeah.
He looked it up and was like, oh, hey,
this
actually wouldn't hold up in court.
Right.
Which is weird because I feel like he still goes by Matt Bentley eventually.
I do think eventually, yes, he does. But that might be because of the character change. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he switches because of that. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. Next up, AJ Styles defeated Chase Stevens in 7 minutes and 37 seconds. Andy Douglas and Chris Candido were ringside for that. And it was actually a pretty freaking good match. Like, really good TV Impact match. Next up, Cassidy Briley teamed up with Dustin Rhodes again to defeat David Young and Lex Levette in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It seems to be a new team. They've been teaming up quite often recently instead of Levette and Quartermain. And then finally, in the main event, Apolo defeated Kid Kash. It says by disqualification, but I think it will end up being a no contest if I remember correctly. But regardless, 9 minutes, 57 seconds. So not bad overall. And then, Dusty made the big announcement about the all the cage matches, which we discussed. And I don't really remember What else? Let's see if I have anything else in my notes. Jeff Jarrett did an interview. Said he was a wrestling dynasty. DDP came out of the crowd to attack him. The Outlaw tried to save Jarrett, but DDP then escaped. So that was like, it looks like, oh, yeah, that's right, dude. Kevin Nash made a surprise return, beating up Candido, Stevens, and Douglas all by himself in the back. Siaki helped out Lance Hoyt. Sorry, I read that wrong. Sonny Saki helped out Apolo when Lance Hoyt interfered in the Kid Cash Apollo match. Because there's supposed to be a 4-way match that Cash was in at Lockdown, but it's almost appearing that we will be doing a tag team match. We will talk more about that. I do have a note about that. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that went down on last week's show. So pretty cool stuff. Now, besides that, there's some issues going on backstage. Shouldn't be a surprise.
Right.
Really shouldn't be a surprise.
It's never easy, I tell you.
No. So, at the April 5th taping, Dave writes that it was almost funeral-like with negativity, which is just a great way to put it. Besides the fact that everyone on all sides had heat with Dusty over the recent bookings, the changes to the pay-per-view with the 8 cage matches and overkill on steps like nobody's business had everyone going nuts. But the real sign was when people got their paychecks. Many people were not sure exactly how prevalent this was, but many people were shorted on money. Dave says that we were told the referees, agents, and announcers who got paid on a per-show basis and would be owed payment for 4 shows, which is 3 hours of TV, from 3 weeks ago, plus the pay-per-view. They got paid for 3 shows instead of 4. Many of the wrestlers also got paid similarly, and this includes some big names like Monty Brown and Kevin Nash. Dave writes that it's a killer because Brown's contract is up in a few months, and something like this is going to make it almost a foregone conclusion that he goes to WWE. Some of the guys who were owed three shows pay, so appearing on 2 TVs and a pay-per-view, only got paid for 2 shows. So he says he doesn't know if this was for everyone, but it was prevalent enough that there was a description of the mood as Death Watch. That became reality. That Panda isn't nearly as much behind the company as a project as many were trying to convince themselves they were. The feeling is that most of the people have nowhere else to work, and the top people are still getting a decent amount of money on a per day basis. That if they got paid for 3 shows and only worked 2 days for it. Another point of concern is that there are no shows on the schedule after June. This is something me and Bob have been kind of chatting about a lot. The contract with Universal was a 1-year deal, and the taping ends at the end of June. And as of yet, it has yet to be renewed. And if it isn't, they will have to find a new taping location. Pretty wild stuff. And now just to do a quick follow-up, because it's further down in my notes, Sean Waltman was also on that list of guys who were shorted their pay. But Dave notes that he also talked to people who were not. So it's not company-wide. He says the surprise was it appears that the higher-paid guys who were the victims of being paid for 3 TVs instead of 4. And that he says that usually when companies get in trouble, they screw the undercard guys. So it's kind of interesting that it's kind of the other way around.
So you're saying that the high pay guys were not getting paid?
Yeah, it mostly is affecting upper card talent. Although he does know, announcers. So it doesn't affect everyone, though. That's the important part here.
Right. I'm just surprised that they would do that to the, people that you would assume are drawing in any viewership.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting situation. Although this is something, too, that I feel like it ends up plaguing TNA and Impact for many, many years. I remember when... This is later, though. Probably... I don't know. You're better with the dates than I am. I'm going to say 2014-ish or so. Maybe 2016. I don't know. I'm bad with the dates. But I remember Matt Hardy speaking up, being like, nah, I've been getting paid. When they were kept reporting that people weren't getting paid. But once again, he's probably more of a top name guy who probably wasn't getting screwed.
Right.
But I do remember, like, I mean, so it happens for a long time, or at least hearing about it happening for a long time.
I feel like it's later than 2014, isn't it?
It probably is. Like I said, I'm very bad with dates.
Yeah,
I was
think
just
you're
spit.
closer to 2016.
No, I think that's closer. You knew what I meant.
Yeah, because I remember those reports.
Yeah.
But then I think he did also then come around and be like, oh, wait, my check didn't come or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now, also at the 4-5 taping, which we're still watching, by the way. I mean, so I'm trying to beat around the bush a little bit here and not spoil anything. Now, like I said, I'm pretty sure we know almost every match and stipulation of Lockdown. Bob, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I'm pretty sure we know. You already mentioned we know the tables match. We know about Lethal Lockdown. We know that Abyss and Styles are fighting.
mm-hmm.
That was mentioned. We know about Daniels and Skipper because they spoiled it on the tape show 2 weeks ago. I do not believe we know our tag team title situation at the moment. We know that Dustin challenged Bobby Roode. I cannot remember if we know the stipulation.
No, I don't think we do.
Unless it said at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to kind of beat around the bush a little bit here. But basically, for 3 weeks worth of shows, or everything leading to the Lockdown pay-per-view, they changed up the show, and it reads Total Desperation. So this is because every match on the card is now a cage match. And Dave says this is what territories do on their last legs. The DDP, Nash, Waltman versus Outlaw, Brown, and Jarrett match. He says lethal lottery match, but it's lethal lockdown. I think he just was stuck on lethal lottery. But he said it's more like War Games than old lethal lottery rules because, once again, it's not lethal lottery. So it's going to work like a War Games match. He says they draw cards or straws or something. Based on that, two guys start. Every 2 minutes, someone else is added in with some kind of lottery to determine who's the advantage. That's what he says. I don't recall it being explained like that, but regardless, that's what he wrote. No one's allowed to win until everyone's in the ring, and weapons are legal in the match. Pretty exciting stuff. We also know, Styles and Abyss as noted, and we know that, I think we found out in the last episode, that the winner of that match will be going right to Hard Justice for a title shot on May 15th. Pretty sure Dusty let us know about that situation. We'll hold on talking about Rhodes and Roode because I do think we'll probably hear more about that. I have a feeling it said it at the bottom of the screen, but we're just going to skip over that for now. Daniels and Skipper for the X title. Well, that's just a cage match right now. There's nothing special about it. Raven and Hardy in the tables match. And as I said, I do not think we know the tag team titles, so we will just hold on that for now. Now, there is that four-way match that I mentioned earlier. Kid Kash versus Shocker versus Michael Shane versus Chris Sabin. That's the I forgot what they called it exactly. It's like the something escape. Do you remember what it's called? It's an escape. Something escape.
You have the stipulation for lockdown?
Yeah.
Uh,
They called it something. That's different than what cage match has listed. But anyways, basically, the first guy who gets out of the cage is the winner and becomes the top contender for the title. And then it essentially works as a ranking. They described it like that. Like the last one in loses. I don't know if they're just going to do one guy out or not, but regardless. Now, it is said that a lot of this was actually forced on Dusty Rhodes, as opposed to him coming up or even necessarily liking these ideas of the 8 cage matches in one night. He says he's not sure whose call it was, but Triton went from being a project of Rhodes, where he was going to have him squash everyone with a modern Nikita Koloff push, to not even being on 3 weeks of television, nor on the next pay-per-view, and basically forgotten about. So that's kind of a spoiler for the next 2 shows here, but we will not be seeing Triton. Maybe ever. Is it done? I don't know. Haven't watched this stuff, so we might see the end of it. I'm not sure.
You know, it's pretty shocking because we would see that pretty routinely in the Asylum years. You know, a guy come out for one show and never see him again. But now, with the actual TV deal and kind of being more relevant, I mean, it's got to be considered a disaster of
I would agree with
a
that.
debut or return for Triton to be gone already potentially.
Yeah, I would say that's.
And you were trying to insert him into a feud with Monty Brown, and then you also said that there were rumors of a potential Goldberg level push.
Yeah, there's like that kind of stuff where it's like,
Yeah.
what? It's like absurd kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm. The only other thing that there's one other match that is announced, and I do think we heard about this one for Lockdown. So I'll just say it. And if not, it's a spoiler, and I'm sorry. It's noted that Apolo will be facing off against Lance Hoyt at Lockdown. But Dave notes that from the TV, it kind of seems like that might end up switching to Apollo and Siaki versus Hoyt versus Kid Kash. We'll see what happens, but because of the way the story's been working, they've been really bumping heads for a few weeks here. Actually, even longer than a few weeks. Back when Apollo fought Siaki and they shook hands after Kash and Hoyt came out, and so they've been doing this for like 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, I would assume that it would be more of a tag match than a singles. Which,
of course, that means Kash is going to have to get switched out of the escape match, and they'll have to figure out a filler for that. But
right.
Also, it's noted that Johnny Fairplay is booked for the next pay-per-view, but he actually wasn't used again on this week's tapings because he had other commitments. So we may see Fairplay again at Lockdown. But that explains why probably he has not been coming out with anyone, because remember, he was supposed to be like the manager for Buck Quartermain and Lex Levette, and then he just hasn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Now on to some other fun stuff. We have some Dusty talk. I got some people who may end up coming into the company, and then we'll talk about some stuff during the show as well. Do you want to hear a riveting interview from the former TNA alum, Joe E. Legend?
Oh, no. What did he say now?
Do you remember? I don't know, man. It was a few months ago, wasn't it? Where he absolutely tore Jeff Jarrett and TNA a new one.
Yeah.
Well, he's back at it. So, hold on tight. So Joey Legend still hates Jeff Jarrett. This is from Alvarez, by the way, so I don't think there's any much of his side talk in it, but I'm just going to read through. From an interview asking him if he'd ever go back to TNA or WWE, he says, quote, "The only company worse than WWE is TNA, and there is no way I would ever go back there as long as Jarrett had anything to do with it. I have never met a more vile, sneaky, underhanded, deceitful coward in my life. I mean, if he at least had some talent, I could put up with him. But he has none, at least not in the ring or on the mic. His talent lies in making people with money believe that somehow he will be able to make money back for them if they just trust him. But facts are facts. Every company Jarrett has been a main event for has gone under in spectacular fashion. Music City Wrestling, dead and buried. A tradition of wrestling in Memphis, buried when a guy so untalented and uninteresting takes over as the top guy. WCW, think Hiroshima and what kind of effect that had on the other major company. All kinds of talent in the locker room worthy of the fans' interest and money. And with this guy on top, a company which had a history all the way back to the beginning of the last century fell to pieces. Now, NWA TNA. The company had been around for almost 3 years and almost went under in the first 6 months. That was until Panda Energy came on board with some money to save it. Since coming on board, Panda has lost in the range of $20 million, trying to make fans believe that Jarrett has any value other than an organ donation. Well, like I said, he's a total con man and has Panda still flushing money down the toilet. I will laugh myself sick when they finally go under because of that guy. I don't want to see all of the real talent, the rest of the roster, out of work. But more importantly, I don't want the fans to endure a company that doesn't have their best interests at heart. This business is first and foremost for the fans and not for some lazy, incompetent, know-nothing con man on an ego trip who should not consider buying a ticket to a show, let alone being a part of one. A walking piece of garbage. So in answer to the original question, and I'm assuming that you can guess the answer in the last couple of paragraphs, no, I have no desire to go back to WWE or TNA, at least not while they are still run the way they are. It's not right.
Well, no surprises there, I guess, from Mr. Joe Legend. Here's the thing, though. I kind of believe like what he's saying about Jeff Jarrett in terms of this era of TNA, where I'm sure he was sneaky and political, and
It does kind of feel like that. So it's probably especially in like the Asylum time. I mean,
yeah.
So I'm not totally surprised. Yeah, pretty wild interviews here. Of course, as we know, I'm sorry, Joe, but TNA they're still around. But Jarrett's not involved, so he could come back.
That's true.
That's a good point. Also, every time that we tagged him in post previously, he said some very nice things about the people he worked with, so that's good to know. I mean, of course, they were never about Jarrett, but
right. I mean, he probably liked the people that he worked with, but not the people he worked.
Yeah, but at least he's got something positive to come out of it.
Yeah, well, maybe he's a changed person. Maybe he's more of a motivational guy.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good guy to me. Yeah, I just hit friend of the show. That's right. He's a good guy. Well, I just had to get that one out of the way. In some other shocking news, Dave writes, in a stunning move, which could be almost described as morally reprehensible, WWE has announced that it was firing Matt Hardy on April 11th. Now, you're thinking, Bob, or Dallas, why are we talking about Matt Hardy? Well, I think it should be pretty clear. At this point, obviously, we're looking at other talent. So it's noted that while he was not told the real reason, they were obvious. He was simply told that the company wanted to try out new talent. And Hardy will be continued to pay to the first week of July, at which point he would be free to work for TNA if he so chooses. It's also noted that a Hardy Boys reunion on independent shows would be a short-term big draw, but Jeff Hardy has actually been turning down all independent offers and has no interest in wrestling, much beyond his infrequent TNA TV commitments. So you just never know. And he does say that due to the nature of how this has gone down, it's expected that Matt would debut with a lot of momentum should he go to TNA. So there's a chance, Bob, that after July, we could see Matt Hardy join his brother here in TNA in 2005.
Do
you want that to happen?
I don't think Matt Hardy wants that to happen. Yeah. So, just for context here, and I'm assuming you're also going to be mentioning another release that occurred.
I was about to mention the other one. Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to say that and then you can give full context?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Rhino was officially released on his 90-day cycle on April 8th due to the incident noted last week about the WrestleMania party. I don't know what this is because I didn't read last week's about Rhino's incident at the party, but it is possible, if not likely, that he would be brought back for the ECW pay-per-view show. We're going to be talking a lot about that show. I think next week we have much more to talk about, by the way. That's One Night Stand for those who aren't sure. Is people who would appear on these shows won't be WWE guys anyways. He would also be unable to work for TNA until July. He can still use his name, but would have to go by Rhino with an I, which is the spelling he used in ECW, which was never trademarked by WWE. There is a caveat in all this, depending on what John Laurinaitis told them for the plans for them possibly being used again. It also says here that when Jamie Noble and Rikishi were fired, they were told that as long as they didn't work for TNA, that they would probably be brought back. So both have not gone to TNA. Now, Billy Gunn, as an example, was told no such thing, so he did go to TNA.
Yeah, that makes sense. The Rhino situation, I believe, was a drunken fight with his wife or ex-wife.
Oh.
And he threw like a lampshade or something like that, and it broke.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I've never heard that.
Yeah, that led to his termination. The Matt Hardy termination is a little bit more interesting, I guess you could say. So as you know, on April 11th, he was released, and it was because of his conduct on social media, because he found out that his girlfriend Lita was having a real-life affair with his best friend Edge.
I thought that's what it was about.
Now, Hardy had been out with a knee injury.
So fun story, real quick. Side note: that knee injury. I met Matt Hardy when I was a small child during this time because he had the knee brace on from the knee injury when he had surgery.
Right.
And I always remember that because as a kid, this happened right after, like Kane chokeslammed him off the stage at the wedding.
Yeah.
And then he was out. And I remember being a kid and seeing it and being like, oh my God, he actually he got injured and that's why he's been on. And I remember that so vividly, seeing the brace and everything. Crazy. Sorry.
No, so with this, public, this real life affair becoming public, the crowd became heavily behind Matt. And there'd be various chants of "You screwed Matt, we want Matt," and all these things. Eventually, the WWE had to pivot to Edge and Lita being an on-air couple. And this is around the time where Kane had kidnapped her in 2004 and may have impregnated her against her will. And, she was carrying his demon son. So it was really weird, this whole thing, because eventually here Kane turns face out of all this. Edge and Lita are the heels, and that's the new feud or whatever. So yeah, at this time, Matt Hardy has arguably became one of the hottest free agents in wrestling because of his girlfriend cheating on him. I remember there being the online show Bite This, and I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Lita was on it with Todd Grisham.
Oh, I know exactly what segment you're talking about.
And Matt Hardy called in. And it led to them having a disagreement. And I remember I was at my living room table stealing the internet from the local school. And I was watching the Bite This segment, and I was like, holy shit, I cannot believe that this is happening. And it was very compelling stuff. So I'm sure that as the months go on, we will continue to keep track of what Matt Hardy's doing, and we'll continue to perhaps share our memories of that time.
Yeah, I would assume that there's going to be constant rumor talk about this. So it's not going to surprise me if we hear much more about it. But yeah, this is a very vivid time period in wrestling for me.
Yeah, and the reason why I say I don't think Matt Hardy would want at this time to go to TNA and be with Jeff, because let's just face it, for the majority of his career, Matt had been second fiddle to Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys come out, or if it's a singles match and you hear that music and you're going nuts, and then it's just Matt Hardy. I don't mean to be rude, but the crowd would go flat. It'd be like the Hart Foundation. You hear that music and you think it's going to be Brett, but it's Jim Neidhart. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, and Matt Hardy's not even bad. He's not a bad wrestler. He's good. But when you have a guy like Jeff Hardy flying off of ladders and jumping off the top of cages through tables and whatever, the fan interest is going to be in the Daredevil more so than Matt Hardy. So if Matt Hardy is at a level of interest that he's never been at on his own, and Mattitude was great, don't get me wrong, version 2.0, 1.0, all that stuff, Matt Facts, that was pretty good stuff. But at this point in time, there was a level of trajectory where Matt Hardy could have reached a level that he had not been at before. And do you want to go to a company where the guy that you were behind is at, and you want to go? It's it'd be taking a step backwards.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it, though.
So I think him maybe not going to TNA and maybe focusing on maybe doing the indie dates that Jeff Hardy wouldn't want to do. You know,
Because either way, you still have a Hardy name on your card. Even if Jeff don't want to do it, it's still be good.
Yeah, I think it would be smart for him to not go to TNA. But now, I never even really thought of like the Hardy Boys reunion thing on the Indies in 2005.
Yeah, that's kind of a crazy thought.
That is kind of nuts, because you look at a company like Ring of Honor, and Jeff Hardy worked there one time in 2003, and he got shat on. I mean, the crowd freaking hated him. They did not want him there.
That's so crazy to me.
It was the wrong audience. But like, the Briscoe brothers, although I don't think they're in Ring of Honor in 2005, but regardless, the Hardy Boys against the Briscoe brothers in 2005 in Ring of Honor, or like the Hardy Boys against Roderick Strong in Austin Aries.
Mm-hmm.
Cabana and Punk against the Hardy Boys. I mean, there are some matches there.
Yeah.
That probably would have gave like Ring of Honor as an example, the biggest crowds that they ever would have had just off that one match.
Right.
So that's an interesting thing to kind of think about.
Yeah, I'm hoping, hey, if there's some Hardy Boy reunion stuff, we'll at least be hearing about it from Jeff's end for a while here. So we'll see. I mean, it'd be kind of fun if we start seeing some stuff pop up.
Their real Ring of Honor run is like what, 2017 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
It's not even that long, which sucks.
No, it's disappointing. Well, the great news of all these people potentially coming in, or rumors of so, we also have some that are finished up with the company. And Bob, I'm not sad even a little bit. So it's noted that so I don't know if we do this already or not, but we might have missed it, or it's just a given here. But besides Phi Delta Slam being done, so there's one for you. They're done. It appears that so are the Harris twins as a TV tag team. Don Harris, now he still works backstage anyways, and he was there. But Ron was not at the last taping at all. So spoiler alert, we will not be seeing Ron these next two shows.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not complaining about that.
No, I'm not sad at all about this. I just think it's kind of funny that they had to bring in these teams to like do the stuff. Then they wrestled like a couple weeks after, or like 1 or 2 weeks after the pay-per-view, and then they're like, meh, we're done.
Well, that sucks for Trinity and Tracy. Now they don't have a team to manage.
I know, that is a good point. At least for, I would say at least Trinity's, because like her being like on screen, in near the ring, is kind of where she thrives, because she can do like her crazy moonsault and all that kind of stuff. But
the Hurricane Rana.
Yeah, you get it.
I had scissors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all her good shit. I got 2 more notes here for you about it. One more is a longer one about Dusty Rhodes, but first, Jeff Jarrett did actually have another discussion with Spike TV just after Meltzer's deadline this week. So clearly negotiations aren't dead from the Spike standpoint, even though those, I'm assuming close to the situation, still pegged it as a long shot. He was trying to sell them on the idea of going head-to-head on Monday night, which Spike has been negative toward. He was also likely trying to sell them on the idea that having UFC with a pro wrestling product together will help both products' ratings, with one providing a good lead-in for the other. And Dave ends up comparing this with ECW on TNN with Roller Jam. Kind of a weird comparison, but
there's no way.
He tries. That's why I'm skipping that. So Dave does say, though, that whether B-level wrestling and UFC will have a crossover of mainstream wrestling and will have the crossover of mainstream wrestling and UFC is not certain, but the UFC rating on a Saturday, at least if you look at it logically, should have strengthened TNA's prospects if, in fact, they have any serious prospects to begin with. So we will see what happens with that moving forward. We will be hearing so much more about Spike TV. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, so about Spike TV, that's comical about the comparison of ECW and Roller Jam, because like Roller Jam's not even on the same level of UFC in any capacity.
Well, so he said, So it looks like now I don't know which order Jarrett's trying to propose for UFC to lead into TNA or TNA to lead into UFC. It doesn't matter.
I believe that ECW led in to Roller Jam.
That's what I was gonna say. Yes. And it is even noted that for the failing Roller Jam, so they try to use ECW to try to boost Roller Jam.
Yeah.
You can compare this to even today. Even Tony Khan just tweeted, "Oh, thanks for watching Big Bang Theory," because the Big Bang Theory lead-in is huge for AEW,
right,
on TBS. Because apparently people love the Big Bang Theory reruns. I don't know.
They do a great number, yeah.
So that lead-in is great for them. So it's something I do. It makes you wonder though. Did Chris Lee Knows Best really be a really good lead-in for Raw, or is that after?
Well, isn't that was after? I think their lead-in is usually like Law and Order, isn't it?
Yeah, Law and Order. There's a time. What was the other show that there was?
Monk might have been one too.
Yeah, dude, fucking Monk. I try to literally turn shit on right at the time, so I don't got to deal with the end part of other shows.
Right, I do the same thing. But now here's my next question. These negotiations with Jarrett and Spike TV. So you're at a point right now where you are paying money to Fox Sports Net to have them on their show. Now Jarrett is looking for a deal, I'm assuming, where the network would be paying them to create content.
Right.
So if I'm Spike TV, and I know this, and TNA is probably going to be desperate for a slot. I don't know how much production costs. Let's just say overall production is like $200,000. Okay.
Right.
If I am Spike TV, am I just going to be like, hey man, we'll offer you $200,000 a week. Cover the production costs. That's it. For the first year, and if everything goes good, and then we'll double it, or whatever.
Still a better deal than they got now, then.
That's what I'm saying. And then for ad rates or whatever, I know usually commercials are weird, where it's like in a show you get 15 minutes of commercials, and usually it's like, oh, the network will get 10 and you guys get 5 in terms of how to get your money. So you do something like that. It would be lunacy to not take a deal like that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Even if they were like, here's $100,000, you have to take.
You're still getting more than what you were getting,
right? So I don't know where Jarrett would have any kind of leverage in negotiations.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Spike TV doesn't need to, sure, they're losing Raw or whatever. They don't, or they've lost Raw. Or no. Do they they lost Raw yet?
I think they're either about to, or
they lose it in September.
Okay. So they're
pretty sure it's September. Because October 1st, I think, is when they're back on USA.
But it sounds like that it was kind of their choice to lose Raw.
Didn't Raw take less money from USA Network?
Well, that I'm not sure about. We'd have to look into that more. But I feel like in the past when we were talking about this, ramping up, that it sounded like Spike was like, we don't want wrestling anymore. So we're not going to re-sign with WWE.
Right.
Or offer them another deal.
Right. Which, I mean, if it's, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, I could see why you would maybe not do that. But if you could get impact for
significantly
$25 million a year,
the new up and coming thing.
Right. And then depending on the time frame, if they were to have a late night, I'm assuming a Velocity type of hour, and you can pull a Velocity type ratings, that's a win. Because your Velocity production cost, even though SmackDown, all that's together, but regardless, right. I mean, it's still, I would imagine, substantially less, and it's not live like Raw was. I'm assuming it would be live. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like I would do that if I lost Raw. I'd be like, oh hey, well here's TNA. I would even look at Ring of Honor and be like, hey, what are you guys up to?
I mean, for real though.
Let's do
Why not?
a late night deal. Like we can. Oh, you're using some TNA guys? Okay, well, let's see what we can do here. I don't know. That's just how I would do it. I would take
I agree.
risks in network television because you know what? Shows that you don't think would be a hit, you take that chance. Like with The Office after season 1, it was a fucking mega hit. Steve Carell became a huge star off the 4-Year-Old Virgin. If you just wait, you give something time, and then it works out.
Exactly. I agree. Well, we'll see what happens. The Spike stuff is super fun to me. When we first heard it pop up, I was very excited, and it seems like we are going to continue to hear more about it as we keep moving forward. One final note here, Bob, before we get started. And then, like I said, we do have some stuff to talk about during the show, including some people potentially being brought back and some other people that are going to be scheduled to be at lockdown. So we will have some fun stuff to talk about then. But first, it's more about Dusty. We're going to be talking a lot about Dusty these next 2 weeks, but with the pressure on Dusty in a big way, the major locker room talk was, who would be the replacement if something happens to him?
Oh, no.
It's a very good question. The thing people don't realize...
Bro, I'm retired, bro.
Don't get too excited. Yet. The thing that people don't realize is this thing was close to being shut down. And Dusty had charmed the Carters into saying that he would need 6 months to get the ship back on track, which bought them some time. Now, Jerry Jarrett was fully behind Dusty and the one behind him getting booking power. The belief is that Jerry felt Dusty had experience in booking. Plus, Jerry would be getting his ideas in without the workload and heat of being booker. What ended up happening was Dusty started believing it was 1985 and that he was the Spielberg of bookers and didn't want to listen to anyone, which rubbed everyone the wrong way. Jerry turned against him in recent weeks with the last pay-per-view and the Monty Brown vs. Triton deal, particularly now with Triton not even being pushed after all that build-up and no way out, being the sign that to everyone that Dusty had no long-term planning. I kind of find it funny that the Triton deal is kind of what's kind of really fucking killing this right now. But Rhodes was said to have said to be very different at TV this week, humbled and even asking wrestlers for suggestions, which he never did before. Because of that, the locker room talk was who would be the next booker. Now, the feeling is Jerry didn't want the workload or heat, and Jeff has been functioning better without the pressures and heat from the job. So the conclusion was that Dutch Mantel would be the favorite. And since he's tight with Jarrett's and has been second-guessing Rhodes from the start, kind of just might fall into place. Now, Mantel isn't popular either due to the last run, with the feeling that like Rhodes, he doesn't believe in smaller guys. The company's most successful pay-per-view was 2 months back, and the argument is, was it Jarrett versus Nash, the marquee names, who drew it, or was it the Iron Man match? Given so many of the buys came after the fact, one would have to conclude it was the Iron Man match, and that goes against everything anyone who is booked or was around in the 80s would have learned. But it's not the 80s, which is key. Kevin Nash, as funny as this sounds, given his WCW track record, is very popular with the guys as far as booking because of his interview comments that he said recently, which I think we talked about in last episode.
Yeah, so, about the $5,000 or whatever.
That and kind of trash talking Dusty. So,
yeah, I'll tell you right now, in 2005, when I was watching these shows, just to give maybe context and an idea here, that Iron Man match was definitely the match of interest, not Jarrett and Nash. And that's 2005 Bob talking. Not in hindsight, Bob. I remember definitely being more interested in what was going to happen in the Iron Man match than Jarrett and Nash.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know realistically if these marquee names in TNA are really draws at all. It's just like a nostalgia trip. I do think your draws are AJ Styles and Abyss to an extent. You know, I really AMW. I really think those are the guys that are going to be bringing in your audience.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Next week we have some really good. I don't want to tease too much. Well, yes, I do. I do want to tease. There's some crazy interviews next week. There's an interview with Dusty Rhodes, and it's some really good stuff. Dusty Rhodes. There's another Kid Kash one. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, next week's episode, we are loaded with good information.
Thank God Skype didn't exist in 2005, because Kid Kash would have been all over the internet with the videos of just trashing TNA and anybody else that would listen.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to be a good one to take us home right before lockdown. So I'm definitely excited to get to next week's episode.
I'm terrified.
Yeah, you should be. That is all I got here to kick us off. I got 3 things we'll talk about during the show, and that's it. So
before we get into the show, I told Dallas the other day, hey, check out our Apple podcast reviews. And so I want to make sure that I'm going to say this correctly. So I went over there. And, you know, number one, unfortunately, we only have a couple of like written ones, which is like, come on, guys, like help us out. You know, we've been doing this forever. Please.
Yeah, just leave us a review. I mean,
if I have to start making an OnlyFans, I will. I'll do it. I'll do an OnlyFans. Okay, if I need to start, you know, sacrificing my morals to get some reviews on this podcast. But we have a comment here from Mr. Tim Welch 17. That is his username. And he's told us, you know, he enjoys the fact that we're covering all these shows that seem lost at the time. And he worked for TNA during this time as an assistant to the creative team and to Dusty Rhodes mostly. He would love to chat sometime, and thanks for coming to the shows. Well, Tim, if you're still listening, we would love to talk to you, but we don't know how to get in contact with you, Tim.
Yeah, I have no idea. So
no idea. We try to look up a way, like, hey, Tim Welch. We searched it, but unfortunately, there's more than one Tim Welch, I guess. So Tim, if you want to chat, you're more than welcome. You can hit us up on Twitter. DMs are open, brother.
All right, that's at Cross the Line TNA. Or, you know what? Even if you want to, you can send us an email. TNAcrossthelinepod@gmail.com.
There you go. That's only for Tim Welch.
It's only for Tim.
Nobody else messaged us.
The rest of you talk to us on Twitter. We are very responsive.
Yes. Also leave a review.
Please leave a review wherever
you listen to
your...
kind ones.
Yeah, no, I definitely it was pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm glad that Bob mentioned that. I was going to at some point, but I had my mind on the interviews next week, and I forgot.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for.
That's what Bob's here for.
That's right. All right. Let's get into it then, guys. The April 15th, 2005 Impact from Universal Studios, Orlando, Florida. I can't wait for this lackluster opening music that's just going to make me want to fall asleep. The runtime for this is approximately 44 minutes and 22 seconds. If you want to watch along, head over to the Impact Plus app, where you find it in your own personal collection. So let's get ready to cross the line. 3, 2, 1, play.
This is TNA. Is it the new face? Is it? There we go. Jared talking about Lethal Lockdown.
Sunday, April 24th.
2 weeks, guys.
Just 9 days away.
It's pretty crazy. And yes, of course, our episodes do drop 18 years to the date. So it'll drop Monday, April 24th. for everyone to listen to that.
Dallas, does it bother you that it's not 20 years to the date?
So, yeah, but that means we would have waited 2 more years to do this podcast. I'll take that it's an even number.
I was just gonna say, at least it's an even number. It's not like 17 years.
17 years. Like, who gives a fuck about that? No one. What I do like about it is that since we are pretty much, we're past 20 years now, right? Yes, we're past 20 years. I think last year was 20 years.
For what?
Or is it this year? For the beginning of TNA. Is it this year? What year did this start?
2002. June 2002. So June 2022.
Yeah, so we're past it. Yeah. Anyway.
That's
what I thought. I like that.
You didn't even know the year in which TNA started, guys.
No, anyway.
We're a diehard.
I'm diehard. I did know that. Okay. I like that since we were before that, we covered everything, and then people are sharing shit, and it's like, yeah, like, remember that? So I'm seeing more posts about the old stuff, since it was a 20-year, whereas we already kind of covered it. And
I feel like when 20 years hits, it's like that's when people like to do stuff.
Yeah.
About it, like retrospectives or whatever.
Right. And here comes Michael Shane. That's right, Michael Shane. It's a wrestler's and fans' dream come true because we have 8 matches. Is that?
Yeah, you never had a pay-per-view with 8 matches on it?
No. The X Division Escape match. Here is Kid Kash coming out with Lance Hoyt.
Let's get into some indie notes here. Lance Hoyt, also known as Shadow, defeated Brett Anthony to retain the PCW heavyweight title at PCW's Full Throttle on April 9th. Oh, and guess what? Here's Chris Sabin. He's got 2 things here. And the first one on April 9th for International Wrestling Cartel Night of Legends 2. This is an interesting match, and I don't know if we've ever seen this in TNA. We probably have. I just don't remember. 3-way dance. Christopher Daniels defeats AJ Styles and Chris Sabin in 16 minutes and 41 seconds.
Wow.
That's probably a really good match.
Oh, yeah, so the last person in the cage is the loser.
You want to take a guess on what the main event for that IWC Night of Legends 2 show is?
It's probably something so ridiculous.
Well, it's Night of Legends, so
that's why.
A rough idea.
Oh, so this is a 6-man match. Okay, so it's Kash, Hoyt, and Michael Shane against Siaki, Apolo, and Chris Sabin.
Sabin seems like he's just lost in the shuffle if he's just doing this match. Do you want to take a guess on that main event or no?
I don't even know if I can. Tully Blanchard and Larry Zbyszko.
No. If it was further south, maybe, but this is in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The main event saw Sergeant Slaughter defeat the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh my God. That had to have been brutal in 2005.
I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, but maybe I'll check it out sometime. Sonny Siaki has a rare indie appearance that's at least documented by Cage Match on April 15th, which is the same day as this show. So I guess essentially later this night, since this airs at 4 p.m. or whatever, 3 p.m. Sonny Siaki won a suicidal 6-way, and he defeated Azrael, Dan Barry, Deranged, Grim Reaper, and Jay Lethal.
What the fuck?
And that was for UXW Elements of Extreme show. And UXW would be known as USA Pro.
Wow. We're getting the scroll at the bottom of the screen for the matches that are taking place at Lockdown. We saw the Lethal Lockdown. This is the Styles versus Abyss. As Michael Shane runs out of the ring. Oh, look at the bottom. America's Most Wanted versus Team Canada for the tag team titles.
Oh, that's official.
That's official. Daniels and Skipper. The Lance Hoyt is like, why did you get out of the ring? He just jumped down. Oh, okay. This is the one I wasn't sure. The Prince of Darkness death match. Dustin Rhodes versus Bobby Roode. I thought we might have seen that scroll before. There's the tables match. Hardy and Raven. Apollo versus Lance Hoyt. And the X Division Escape match. Shocker. Kid Kash, Chris Sabin, and Michael Shane. And join us 30 minutes prior to lockdown, or not us, because we can't fucking find any of this shit, for our free warm-up show on your pay-per-view preview channel. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. It features matches and interviews. Sabin tags in Sonny Siaki. Now, it's a little old news once we get to releasing this episode, but Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley just re-signed with Impact Wrestling. Again, it's pretty awesome. They're one of the things that keeps me watching because some of the things they've been doing recently are questionable as fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. As this match is kind of getting a slow start here, Kash is going, he's tagging Michael Shannon again. How are you going to do a serious sit-down interview with Mickie James, who just got injured? She broke a rib and has to potentially vacate the title. And you have Santino Marella being the one who's like, oh, I have to use my mind here and have imagination about what I'm going to do. And it's just like what are we doing?
His imagination for what?
About how he's got to think about what he's going to do to book them, because he's the DOA.
Oh.
It's so fucking stupid. And then, listen, I'm fine. Bully Ray being back, fine. I'm fine with that, right? Bully Ray fucking Tommy Dreamer in the first ever busted open match. They come out to the ring, right? First off.
So it's essentially a first blood match, right?
Yes, Bob. And the funny thing about this is they go, was it Bully Ray? And one of them goes, I don't even know what a busted open match is. I think it was Bully Ray. And, of course, they have the radio show. As Lance Hoyt hits a huge side slam on Sonny Siaki. He goes for the cover. That was a 1. But then they introduce him coming out of the ring. And Dave Penzer, what the fuck is Lance Hoyt doing?
A moonsault?
Holy shit. I did not know Lance Hoyt could do a moonsault off the top like that.
Hasn't he done one as Lance Archer? He almost killed himself. Then he almost broke his neck.
Oh, wait. Yeah, he did.
In AEW.
Yeah, well, that one was better.
Yeah.
And they introduce it, and it's like, this is a busted open match, and in order to win, you must bust your opponent open. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
Kid Kash gets tagged with Apolo here. Apolo cleaning house. Oh, shit. Sabin clotheslines Michael Shane out of the ring. Spinebuster on Kash by Apollo. Hoyt breaks that one up, though.
I can't believe this match has been going on for 8 minutes.
Yeah. Is that real? Did they trim the time on us?
Well, when they went to commercial, they cut, I think, 3 minutes off of it.
It kind of feels like it. Okay, Apollo hitting Lance Hoyt from superplexing Kid Kash, and now he's got a power bomb. And then, nice frog splash by Kid Kash.
Wow. I don't think I was expecting that.
Oh. Impressive way to kick off Impact. Michael Shane, Kid Kash, and Lance Hoyt. Big Lance Hoyt, as Mike today calls him. I'd like to point out that this is before his interview that we'll talk about next week.
Yeah, that's probably important.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, we're over at Mike Tenay, down west at the table.
They're so excited about every match inside of a cage.
Every match.
You know, it has to be.
Oh, Lawyer Daggered.
Isn't that Tim Welch?
Is that?
I don't know, but Chris Candido's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, what the heck? Oh, because Kevin Nash assaulted him.
Yeah, this is Jarrett's lawyer. Candido cannot eat, he can't walk. He's got a neck brace on.
Kevin Nash, you walk around here like you own the place.
I want Kevin Nash to walk out and then Candido run out of the wheelchair. We got 2 security guys. So if Nash comes out here, he is going to be arrested immediately. Candido's crying.
Lawyer Daggett.
I don't know. I don't know if that's actually too much. It could be. I got it.
Well, the thing is, like, the name sounds so familiar to me, but
What? Trinity is with Michael Chan.
he's talking about beating Christopher Daniels. Now look what's in her hand there, Bob. She's got Dusty Rhodes' book.
Cheap play.
Yeah, so Tracy goes, "You're supposed to be handing out the Dreams book. It comes out today." No, you got my wheels.
It's
turning?
funny. I'm looking at my bookcase. I can see the Dusty book right on it.
Is that the one?
I'm pretty sure it's the same one.
Give me the book.
Hang on, I'm gonna grab it real quick and see if it's
You know what? Have it. Oh, they're fighting again, dude. She's like, "Give me the buck."
Give me the book.
It's called Reflections of an American Dream. George Steinbrenner wrote the foreword. Here's Petey Williams with A1 and Scott D'Amore. The Real Life Crew coming out next. BG James, Ron, The Truth Killings. Oh. No Konnan, but they said he's in the building. Okay, that's pretty interesting. But every time Don West says he saw him, he was by himself. Y'all gonna make us lose our mind. And he's doing his normal thing, and Team Canada attack him from behind. I think this is our. I don't know if A1 has fought before as Alistair Ralphs. He's been here, but I don't know if I've seen him with Team Canada. Around Killings launches himself off the back of BG James. The little arm wave, and then they punch Petey Williams.
Speaking of Petey Williams, I have indie notes on Mr. Petey Williams.
Do you really?
Yeah. And guess what?
What?
Petey Williams won the ECWA Super 8 tournament
Did he really?
on April 9th.
Wow.
The first round, Petey Williams defeated Rory Fox. The semifinals, he defeated Alex Shelley in 19 minutes and 4 seconds. And in the finals, he defeated Puma.
Wow, Puma.
So, congratulations to Petey Williams. Now, I have Dusty's book here, and I was thinking, oh, maybe it'll be something about TNA. But of course, there's not going to be anything in TNA because obviously he wrote it while in TNA.
Right.
I didn't think of that until I sat back down.
I also just made a lie up while you were gone. I wasn't sure if we saw A1 here, or Al Ralphs, as they're calling him as well.
Yeah, we've seen him before.
No, we've seen him, but I didn't know if we saw him like wrestle in Team Canada yet, but we did at Destination X.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I forgot about that. But this is his only wrestling appearance since Destination X.
Did Dusty write another book?
I don't know. I don't have any Dusty books.
Because I would love to know what he was saying about.
Bob, you're correct. By the way, it took
What?
me a minute. That is Tim Welch, and that is exactly why that name sounded so familiar.
I knew it.
Because we've been hearing that name for like years. Because he was the ring announcer.
The ring announcer.
Yeah. Oh shit! Look at D'Amore and his muscles. Oh, he's pushing it up on the back, I think.
Well, hi Tim.
Huge.
We knew who you were this whole time. I knew it.
I freaking knew it sounded familiar, dude.
So you know what that means. He's had to have been there through most of the asylum stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Tim, hit us up. Email us. Find us on Twitter. We're on Facebook, too. Whatever works for you, man.
Ron Killings in the tree of whoa.
Speaking of D'Amore, did you see? Once again, this is a few weeks before this episode comes out. That Sacrifice, Scott D'Amore came back, and he hit a Canadian destroyer.
Yeah, I did see that.
Which I'd be more mad at if he wasn't the one who like managed Petey Williams and like is like the Team Canada guy.
The end game has to. Well, no, counted the destroyer there. It has to be a D'Amore Bully Ray match, right? I mean, that's got to be.
Yeah, and with all due respect, we saw how the D'Amore Jerry Lynn match went.
Okay, that was 2004.
But we knew how it went.
So. Listen, Scott D'Amore had some pretty good matches in the WWF. Losing to Razor Ramon in 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
It's true.
Right.
Pretty sure he lost to Fatu one time.
Did never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. BG James is taking out Team Canada here. Look at these punches. Left. Oh, he's dancing.
Oh, shake, rattle, and roll. Boom, done.
I couldn't think of his name. I was gonna say the one guy, the 2CW guy, have good matches too, like losing to Yokozuna or whatever.
Oh, Steve King.
Yeah.
English Steve. Yeah.
Oh. That high kick, kind of like a heart attack combo. Oh, shit. I thought Petey Williams was going to break that one up, and
I thought he was supposed to, and he didn't get there in time.
Bob, you also kind of missed it, but they were talking about the fact that Konnan was not ringside, but he is in the building, and TNA is couldn't believe that Konnan was not out here with these guys.
Well, because he's upset with BG James.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So why would he be that? Why would he be out there?
I don't know. Every match inside the cage.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8.
That's right. Speaking of Lockdown, Bob, it's noted here that Vampiro and Antonio Pena are scheduled to come in at Lockdown, but it's actually just Vampiro and Antonio Pena. Right. As we see Elix Skipper at the announce table, and wow, there's Dusty Rhodes' book again. But this is just for a business meeting, Bob, so don't get too excited.
Okay.
Pena is trying to work things out with the Jarretts after flying them in and not talking with them at all. Vampiro and Pena are going to Puerto Rico on April 23rd. The goal is to put together a Spanish-language TV project for both North America and Mexico, which would use IWA, TNA, and AAA talent. And here comes Mikey Batts. He doesn't like Harry Potter. He says no.
He is definitely not getting that Harry Potter's game on the PS5.
This is why Primetime is ringside, because we have the X Division champion, Christopher Daniels, coming out to face Mikey Batts.
Oh, guess what? Christopher Daniels has Andy Note. Well, I already mentioned the 3-way that he won, but on the next day, April 10th, for NEPW in Painesville, Ohio, April Assault, Christopher Daniels defeated John McChesney.
Wow.
That show also featured Marty Jannetty.
Oh. Okay.
and Doink, but not the original Doink. Oh, Jimmy Olsen's on that show.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Like the Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah, the Jimmy Olsen. And then the main event of that show is the April Fool's match between a guy named Dick Trimmins and Rob the Bod.
Get out of here. Rob the
Yeah.
Bod?
Yeah. Oh, Dick Trimmins was trained by Al Snow.
I like Dick Trimmins.
That's incredible. Oh, good for him, I guess.
This is probably the best time to bring this up, but someone talked about being brought back in because Dusty's being told that he needs to bring in more guys and push the X Division better. They're looking at bringing Sanjay Dutt back. We haven't seen him in quite some time, unfortunately.
I thought we just saw him like the other week.
Well, they're going to bring him back. Maybe as more of a permanent fixture.
How long has he even been gone for? Let me look this up. I feel like we just watched. Now I watch a lot of wrestling on my own, so this could be a confusion thing for me. But I could have sworn that he had just returned. I mean, I'm probably wrong, but come on, you stupid thing.
It looked like Daniels wanted to get a dragon sleeper in right there and then said, fuck it. The Fallen Angel, Mr. Daniels.
Okay, so I guess the last time we saw Sanjay was at Final Resolution.
That's insane, dude.
So 3 months. It feels like we just saw him. That's weird. Well, I like Sanjay Dutt, so him coming back potentially, I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Skipper's trying to say he's taught Daniels half the tricks he knows.
That's funny. Skipper really only started getting exposure in wrestling in like the year 2000, and Christopher Daniels has been wrestling forever. So you
Since
would think
199.
No, Daniels.
When did Daniels start wrestling? Look it up.
You're making me
Look
do
it
all
up.
the hard work. You're making me do all the hard work today.
Okay, I'll click his name. I have the.
I got it. I'm right here. No, his first year of exposure, I'll have you know, is 1993. So shut up.
What?
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 53.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I did not know he was that old.
He started wrestling for Windy City Wrestling in 1993. So,
the Batts beater. He caught him with the Batts beater, Bob.
That's not appropriate.
Oh my God! Look, Skipper came in to count the cover. Mikey Batts can't believe that he just pinned
He
Daniels.
thought it would. Skipper's not an officiate. No. Batts, look at who's raising your hand.
Ready?
Skipper, he can't do that.
Sudden death. Oh no! Oh, Insiguri.
Oh, see, every trick he knows.
Okay, that was really funny. Oh, Angel's wings. That's it. Rudy Charles counts to 3.
Here's the thing, though. It's funny because, like, Batts, you could make the argument that he did just beat Christopher Daniels. Because it wasn't even really a fast count.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, Primetime versus Daniels for the X title. And who's this backstage? It's Konnan. Oh, he's like, hey, what's up, man? 3 legs, let's go.
He seems pretty good.
Wait. You know how we do. Easy like Sunday morning, no shady situation. But lately, the Outlaw has been trying to change that. You've been right the whole time, K-Dog.
He ain't up to no good. This is familiar.
Now let's do the dang thing. Oh, he doesn't want to accidentally get hit by a guitar, so he asks him to stay backstage. Ron Killings goes, "You did hit him with the guitar."
That did happen. Here's an issue. I'm looking more into Christopher Daniels' career, and I knew that he wrestled for ECW a few times, but I don't think I realized that he actually beat Super Crazy.
Okay.
Which is pretty weird that he didn't really do anything. But he beat him at a house show on June 17th, 1999.
Still getting rowdy. Here comes Konnan. It's a 3 Live crew. It's me, the B Jizzle.
Oh.
If you didn't know. Oh, he's got the mic. Yo, 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 on the real O-Town.
Where we at? Let me speak on this. Olale. Oliva la raza. Oh, yeah, baby. Right? What's that done? Eric Young.
Bob, in case you didn't know, every match is going to be inside of the 6 Sides of Steel at Lockdown. They've told us for about the 20th time tonight.
And I did know that. And I also know that it's not 1, it's not 2, not 3, not 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, but 8 cage matches. Eric Young has a couple of indie notes, in case you cared, which I'm sure you don't.
I do. I'd love to hear about the indie notes about Eric Young.
Back on April 1st, he wrestled Chase Stevens to a no contest for USA Championship Wrestling in Nashville, Tennessee. April 2nd, he lost to Chance Profit in a match for the NWA Bluegrass Heavyweight Championship for NWA Bluegrass in Paintsville, Kentucky. And then on April 9th, he lost to James Storm for NWA Bluegrass. And then here's an interesting thing. The same day as this show is airing, April 15th, Team Canada, which was Eric Young, Petey Williams, and Jean-Pierre Lafitte, also known as PCO,
Shit.
defeated Abad, Abyss, and Miguel Perez for IWA Puerto Rico's Juicy Final 2005 Night 2 in Puerto Rico.
We're going to be talking more about that show, actually, too. I think next week I have some notes about it.
Oh, great. Is it because Jeff Jarrett's on it?
I actually don't remember what the note is exactly. I can look.
Interesting.
Well, you know what? Since you're talking about it, fuck it. I'm just going to tell you. It doesn't matter. We don't have to wait till next week. Jarrett and AMW worked that show, which I'm sure we'll hear about the AMW match eventually here as Scott D'Amore punches.
I didn't see AMW on that show I just talked about.
On the Puerto Rico show?
Yeah. Was it Night 2 or was it?
Oh, that I don't know if I know that.
Different nights, yeah.
Well, yes, I think you're right. It doesn't say. Well, they actually did a deal where Jeremy Borash was the special referee for the Jarrett versus Ray Gonzalez NWA title match, and Borash ended up screwing Gonzalez over for the finish. The crowd tried to riot, and Borash and Jarrett needed a police escort out of the city. That took some major league guts to do something like that in that town, and they deserve to get a decent rating for the footage when they air it on Impact. It was also noted that Rhino was down there as well. He was actually booked there before he was fired from WWE. And it's noted that he is certain that he talked to Jarrett about coming to TNA at that show.
I wouldn't be surprised. These guys are trading covers. Young trying to use the ropes for leverage, but he really wasn't on top of Konnan properly for that to even make sense. So Konnan easily kicked out.
But over Konnan, nice little Alabama slam. Look at that, Sal. Oh shit.
How do you like me now?
Audio, like me now. Like me now. Like me now.
Oh. Okay, powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, clean pen. That's rep.
Without BG screwing things up for him, Konnan, K-Dog, gets a win. Mic check, mic check.
Doing the job.
Oh, did you know? Lockdown, biggest pay-per-view to date. Not 2. Oh, I thought so.
I thought he was going to do 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7.
So he's talking to AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy at once, even though they're in separate matches. But
okay, what I'm about to say is just an observation. Shane Douglas is not using steroids anymore.
Okay.
Well, because you look at him, he doesn't look, because before he was like, kind of buff, I guess. He seems a lot more comfortable.
I'm not going to miss my opportunity in the world to be
so
the
now here's my question. Look at Shane Douglas right there. Come on, give me a break. That's me. He's looking like me right now. I'm wearing a yellow shirt and everything. That's me.
Yeah, pull your camera back up. Oh, Hardy says he's going to lock something down, but he's going to also take Raven out. Next week's Impact. Bob.
I knew it.
Hardy and Styles against Raven
it's
and
booking
Abyss
101.
next week.
They set that up a couple of weeks ago. It's so obvious. I don't hate it. It's just obvious. It had to happen.
Well, we were hoping it would happen, and it's happening. Look at... Oh, shit. Styles left, and then Raven came in with a chair shot. Or, sorry, garbage can.
Trash can, yeah.
And here comes Jeff Jarrett. Bob, I have one more note that I probably should have said earlier, but since Styles is just there, it kind of works too. And that is, Rhodes has laid out the next pay-per-view, and it appears that Styles and Abyss may actually be in the main event slot of the show.
Of Lockdown?
Of Lockdown. Instead of this Lethal Lockdown match.
Really? Their whole interaction was him walking by a pickup truck with Abyss like intimidating Tracy and Trinity, and they brawled. That's it so far. And like a couple of brawls, in the...
Yeah. Oh, wait, is Jarrett? Oh, no, he's just harassing. Or wait, is he sitting down at the announce table, or is he just harassing him?
No,
he's sitting down.
Chair there.
He's sitting down. It also appears, and we keep saying it, this Kid Kash potentially teaming with Lance Hoyt against Apolo and Siaki, which takes Kash out of the 4-way. We keep talking about it. It keeps looking very obvious like that's the case. Who knows? Now, the other interesting thing is that apparently Shocker has canceled. And apparently he's missed the TV taping. So spoiler, we're not going to see him on this or next show. But no, that's why no one's upset that he missed this taping. Here's Kevin Nash. Hiding behind, 15 security guards?
Where's Candido? Candido better run if he's anywhere near there.
We heard Daggered. I like that TNA calls him Daggered, but his name is Daggett.
Yeah.
I think it's really... And TNA says that too. He says both. It's like an insult name. Okay, so Nash is trying to get after Jarrett here, but... Get him out of here.
So, back to Shane
He just
Douglas.
spit on Lawyer Dagger.
If we watch that hardcore homecoming show that Douglas is probably going to wrestle on, do you think he wrestles in his t-shirt?
Okay, so seeing what you're pointing out on this show, I'm going to say yes.
I think he would. Now, here's the thing. I haven't watched that show in probably freaking 20 or at least 10 years, so I don't even remember. He's certainly not looking like freaking the Outlaw right here.
No, the Outlaw is absolutely jacked, and he's wearing bright green plain trunks. A little more familiar look without some lips covering his crotch and butt.
Monty Brown. I hate that he's a heel. This is driving me nuts.
Jared says, here comes my main man.
Billy Gunn has a couple of Or the Outlaw, Billy
The
Gunn.
Outlaw.
He has a couple of indie notes. Back on April 1st, he defeated Tracy Smothers for IWA Mid-South. And then the next night for IWA Mid-South on April 2nd, he defeated Eric Priest. And then on the same night of the show, April 15th, Billy Gunn competed for UXW Elements of Extreme, where he lost to D'Lo Brown. And then we'll remember D'Lo Brown was one of those vignettes that never arrived.
Yeah, I did forget about those.
Yeah. I did not think it was D'Lo Brown, but it was confirmed in the newsletter, right?
Yeah, it was D'Lo. I was convinced. I saw the head shape and I knew. Yeah. Look at just when DDP's going through the crowd. He made this guy stand up, and the guy did not do the hand signs with him.
DDP's teaming up with.
You hear the music?
Sean Waltman. That guy's really excited.
That's right.
Sean Waltman. It says Pac though.
Oh.
Right. Six Pac.
Six Pac. Instead of Sean Waltman this week.
The number 6, not spelled out, but it's 6.
Kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Sean Waltman has some indie notes too.
Really?
Yeah. And it's on the same night as Impact is shown here on April 15th for Border City Wrestling in Ontario, or Oldcastle, Ontario, Canada. And guess what? Shane Douglas is a special referee. Scott D'Amore. That's right. Scott D'Amore and Sean Waltman defeated A1 and Joe Doring.
Joe Doring.
And that is your indie notes for this episode.
Wow. So we got the Outlaw and Monty Brown versus DDP and Six Pac. This is a pretty solid TV main event, I'd say.
I would say so, yeah.
Kind of a little bit of a teaser for Lethal Lockdown coming up on April 24th.
That's what Mike Tenay just said.
Oh, that's funny.
It's like as if you are Mike Tenay.
I am Mike Tenay, except I'm definitely not as good with knowing stuff as he is.
Yeah, I mean, he would probably know.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I think Bob is more than Mike Tenay. I'm like the Don West of this podcast.
Well, I'm saying Mike Tenay would probably know.
Shut the fuck up.
What year the company started.
Oh, okay. I'll take that insult better than what you thought you were going to say.
And you would also know who Nikita Koloff is.
Fucking bullshit. Go for the cutter. No, Outlaw pushes out of it and almost knocks Rudy Charles out, though. By the way, we've done 0 time checks. We're at 38 minutes, 12 seconds. So we are flying through the show. This show has been flying by.
I would agree with that.
Now, it is interesting to note, Bob. Look at the bottom of the screen. Never mind. I didn't see I thought they showed the AJ Abyss match first, but they showed the Lethal Lockdown first. So never mind.
Did they promote this tag match at all during the show? I don't think they'd mentioned it.
I don't think so. Not that I heard.
You would think they would be like, oh, by the way, DDP is the main event tonight with Sean Waltman.
Speaking of Sean Waltman, Bob, I just subscribed to Paramount Plus with Showtime last night, and because there's a show on Showtime that we want to watch, and I wanted an excuse to get Paramount Plus, so we were looking through the shows, and they have the Surreal Life on there.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, do I need to watch the one channel? Did you see? Was that Monty Brown just chucked him out of the ring?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention who did it. I just saw Waltman flying over the top rope.
I think it was Monty Brown, but now it's the Outlaw and DDP in the ring, so we're back from commercial.
I don't know. I thought it was Billy Gunn, but whatever.
Maybe it was. It was so fast. I was just looking at his body fly.
Is it all the seasons of Surreal Life?
I'd have to double check that. I'm noticing a lot of the shows, even the ones I was really excited about, are missing like a season or two.
See, that annoys the shit out of me.
For example, like I was really pumped to see like All That was on there, but it's like missing the first season.
Oh, it is.
And like the Amanda show's missing like a season or two.
Yeah.
Like some of the childhood faves are like not all on there. So
and they don't have the musical acts on there usually.
I don't care as much about that, but
why do I have to sign into this? What the come on, dude.
The Outlaw choking DDP over in the corner. Referee's back is turned. He's focused on Waltman trying to get in the ring here. Oh, heel tag. Monty Brown chopped his own chest to tag in. That was pretty funny. I love it when the heels do the sneak tag, and then the ref always goes, "Did you guys tag?" And then they do the okay. Like he asks them to like confirm.
Well, yeah, you gotta trust what they tell you. But that only works for heels. If you ask the babyface, they will not believe a babyface.
No.
You got a ref. We did it. No, you didn't. You liar. It's like, okay. Thanks, guys.
That might be one of my favorite things in wrestling.
That they trust the heels and not the babyface.
That they're like, oh yeah, tag, and then the heels get in and they're like, no, I didn't see it. Because it makes all the referees look like assholes when, like, really for the rest of the parts of the matches, like they are on the good guy side, really.
Yeah.
It's a good way to boo a referee. Oh, fuck you, Rudy Charles. God damn it.
All right. What show am I looking for? Surreal Life. If they have, I didn't realize they would have the Surreal Life on here.
Now, they also don't have as much VH1 stuff as I was hoping to. That's another thing I was a little disappointed about. But they have a decent amount of stuff.
Let's see. I'm going to shit my pants. Let's see. Oh! They do.
Really?
1, 2. Oh, wait a minute. They don't have season 2.
Oh, see? That's what I mean.
What the hell kind of bullshit is that?
Which one's season 2?
I don't fucking know.
Hopefully not the China one.
No, isn't that 2005?
Oh, yeah, because we just talked about it. Oh, huge kick by Six Pack.
Yeah, here it is, dude. Okay.
Irish whip. Oh, shit. He countered the Irish whip by Outlaw, and he hit him with another kick. Sorry, Bob. This match is really heating up here with holy shit, pop-up drop kick by Six Pack.
Waltman appears on the March 5th, 2005 episode. And you can see him in the X Factor. He's in like the thumbnail screen grab there with his chocolates and flowers or whatever.
Oh, for shit. Diamond Cutter by DDP on Monty Brown, who's not the legal man. The Fameasser. To DDP. No. Waltman is still the one who's legal here with the Outlaw. High kick in the corner. He fell down. He looks like he's going for the Bronco Buster. And there it is. Wait, they're yelling. Jarrett's coming to the ring. He's got the guitar. Oh, shit. Oh. That was a stiff one. That guitar barely broke. Actually, the way that guitar broke, that kind of looks how mine looks. It's like the two back panels fell off. Oh, shit. Outlaw got the cover on.
Waltman doing the job. What is going on here?
And Jarrett, he's getting attacked by DDP.
I wouldn't hate seeing a Waltman-Jarrett match, I'm telling you.
You'd hate it?
I wouldn't hate it.
Oh, no, I think they should do that for sure. Over at the Spanish announce table, don't you worry, that thing ain't gonna break.
No.
Bob, when our podcast is done one day, we're gonna make like a pop quiz, and we're gonna have like fun facts that we learned. And one of them is, how many times has the announcement table broke? And it's a trick because it didn't.
Never. Under no circumstance does it ever break.
Never.
Oh, they're going outside.
We're outside.
I bet you Candido's going to run him down with his wheelchair. Oh, no.
Well, the Outlaw's out here now. We're 2-on-1 against DDP. Oh, is that Nash over there?
Still, leave him alone.
He broke free. Oh, but no one was there.
Oh, and they ran away. All right. Well, Dallas, I would say that was a good episode.
I liked it, dude. That was pretty solid. It absolutely flew by, and I think we got some exciting stuff. Just 2 weeks. I would have been fine if that was even the go home for lockdown. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the way it ended and stuff, but we got one more episode, guys.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and I don't hate that. Fucking what the hell's wrong? What am I talking about? Oh, that Waltman and Page lost because you know what? The heels going into a lethal lockdown or a war games, whatever the case, they usually have to get the momentum because unless it's the NWO, usually the heels lose a war games or a lethal lockdown.
And they start with the advantage.
Right. So I understand, wanting to build up that steam and whatever. I'm just surprised that it's Waltman taking the loss. I would have thought maybe if they were to have lost, that Page would take the loss.
It doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, I guess not. So.
Yeah, solid episode. Thumbs up for me as well. And damn, dude, I am so excited to get to this next episode. Not only for the show itself, but I keep saying it. You guys aren't going to want to miss the interviews and stuff that we have to talk about on next week's episode.
Yeah, I'm terrified for what you're about to tell me next week.
And then I'm also excited because after next week, it's lockdown.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We could pretty much wrap it up after lockdown. This is what I wanted to get to.
I know. Like, when we first, I'm telling you guys, when we first started this whole thing, when Dallas was like, "Hey, Bob, you want to do a TNA thing?" And he was like, "Dude, I can't wait to get to Lockdown 2005." I'm not even joking. When we were doing the notes for the background of how TNA even started, he was like, "Bob."
I probably talked about it on that first little pilot episode we did.
I'm sure you did.
Get Ready to Cross the Line. Find that in the archives. It was our very first episode. Yeah. We released 3 days, I think, before the first pay-per-view to kind of give a background follow-up before the company started. Yes, in 2002, because I do fucking know the date. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. He was just like, "Oh yeah, dude, Lockdown 2005, my favorite," and then here we are.
Let's go.
Here we are. All right, guys. Next week is the go-home show for Lockdown. Can't wait to do it. Can't wait to get trapped inside of the 6 Sides of Steel for 2 hours and 50 minutes or whatever it will be. But that's not next week. It's the week after that. So let's get to it. Until next week, for Dallas Gridley, I am Bob Colling Jr., and this has been the TNA Cross the Line podcast.